All right. So thank you so very much, B, for joining me on this episode of Hey Hun. I know you have a lot going on, and time is our absolute most precious commodity. So I promise I won't keep you long at all.
No
But again,
problem.
thank you so very much. All right. So we're going to start off kind of just like, and I know that you have told this story a million and one times, but I want my listeners to be able to hear what's going on and who are you and why do they see your face on Hey Hun. And hopefully when they're done, they're going to be as enamored as I was. And the reason that I had you, let me say, is because I did an episode last season that I called WAP, but it was Wellness and Prepare. And and I mentioned honey pot in it. So I started getting people going, what? And a lot of people didn't even realize that they had seen you on television already,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And so my thing was, yeah, because I was just when I was talking about it, I was like, okay, I've been loyal to this one company since I can remember. Like, those are the only products I've ever used since, I've had a cycle since I was like 11 and I'm 45.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it brought about a change. And I was like, because I'm brand loyal. So it was different. And most people that know me know that once I get something and I won't say fixated, but once I start using something, that's it. So when I changed and I started saying, hey, this new thing, they're like, oh, she's changing. It's a new thing. So they wanted to hear. And
Yeah.
some people, like I said, know, but some people don't. So I want them to be able to see you, hear you, and feel your passion. Because I know when I saw that commercial, I was like, wait a second. It's a girl that looked like me on a Target commercial. And she is talking about her own stuff inside of Target. So I was like, but I have to admit, at first I had no idea. When I saw the commercial, I was like, "Honey pie, what is that?" Somebody was at my house, and I was like, "Have you heard?" And she was like, "No, I have no idea." And I was like, "Okay," and kind of just won't say ignored it, but just kind of let it go by. And then commercial came on again, and I was like, "You know what? What is honey pie?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And see, Target is my store, so it was
No, it was easy.
it was a no brainer. So let's start off with what led you or what led Honey Pot to be a brainchild for you? Like, and did you have like a 9 to 5 when you started it? Like, how did it come
Yeah.
about?
So I had a 9 to 5 all the way until 2018. We started Honey Pot in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but the reason why I got into the vagina business is because of the issues that I was having with my own vagina. So I went through an almost year long bacterial vaginosis infection that I really could not get rid of. And I was doing everything, like everything that if you went on Google right now and typed in bacterial vaginosis and trying to figure out things to get rid of it, like I probably did all of those things, right? And so I did that for 8 or 9 months,
Mm-hmm.
and literally, one morning, my grandmother came to me in a dream, and in the dream, she told me that she had been walking with me and watching me struggle, and she basically said she handed me a piece of paper and told me that this was going to solve my problem, and she said that well, no, I went on to say I was trying to talk to her because I've never really physically met my grandmother,
Okay.
right? So, because she died when my mother was young, so I'm trying to like, oh
Process.
shit, like you're here, and and she was just like, I'm not here for that, right? Like this, like I'm here to do this thing. So basically, what she was telling me is I needed to focus on what was on the paper,
Okay.
right? And so I just started reading the ingredients over and over and over again. It was just like coconut oil, vinegar, water, lavender. Like I was just one by one by one. So when I woke up from the dream, I literally woke up doing and saying what I was doing in the dream. And so I wrote it down. within a couple of days, I worked at Whole Foods at the time.
Okay.
So within a couple of days, I was able to pull the ingredients together. And then, I basically created a formula. And then like 4 or 5 days after I started using it, because I started using it right after I made it, 4 or 5 days after I started using it, everything that I was dealing with vanished. Because I was having BV right then, I was having an infection at that moment. And so, yeah, so for me, the mother of my invention was necessity.
Right.
I couldn't, I had not found the thing that had given me the relief that I needed. And my grandmother came to me in a dream, told me how to do it. I did it. It worked. Here we are.
And those ancestors, right? Always looking out.
Yeah.
And not even to say, the old adage is, most inventions come out of necessity, but you think of something that's tangible when you think of that.
Right.
But at
Right.
this point, it was you needed help. You needed,
I needed help bad.
yeah, you needed to
Because
make
my
things
vagina
happen.
was like, really, girl? This is what we're going to keep doing? This isn't okay. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, at what point did you know that you had a brand and that it was like it was a thing, or did you just think, hey, I have a product here?
2014. Because between 2012 and 2014, I was just giving the product away.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't only working for me, you know? So, anybody, and not only that, I needed to perfect the formula, I needed to, I just, I needed to make it right. It wasn't like I developed this in the beginning with a chemist. It wasn't like I had the money to do a real clinical trial in the beginning, right? Eventually we did that, right? So I was literally in the kitchen making this stuff, right? Making it, bottling it, labeling it, capping it, shrink wrapping it, do everything. It wasn't just me. I had a little bit of help, but
In the
yeah, I
kitchen.
mean, in the kitchen. And in 2014, the Bronner Brothers Hair Show was here in February 2014. And I got on my hands and knees and begged my brother to basically to find, to help me, because I didn't know, I didn't know what I was doing. B, I didn't have any money, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing, I just needed help, like I didn't know
where to start.
Like I knew where to start, but I didn't know where to start. You understand what I'm saying? Like I knew what to do because I had already started, but I didn't know. My brother, went to school to be an accountant. Like ran his own business for years and years and years. So I needed the other half of that, right? Like I'm the person who can be extremely optimistic, who thinks really big, right? I'm the person, I can create a line like that, right? Like that's how my brain works. Mm-hmm. I know how to get it into a retailer. I know how to sell to a buyer, right? I know how to make a beautiful formula. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I know how to do the shit, right? But you need somebody who knows business, who knows money, who knows financing, who knows tax, who knows all that kind of stuff. And that's what he was, And so we went to the Bronner Brothers Hair Show. I basically told him if we didn't sell anything, then I would never bring it up to him again. But if we did, well, then we would be having a different conversation. And it did well. It like, we took like 600 bottles and we sold out of all of them in just 3 days.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so
fantastic. So when you were talking about your the formulas and being in the kitchen and all that stuff, how many did you go through? Like I've heard like I want to say like Tracy Ellis Ross said with her pattern, she went through like 72 different formulas before she said this is it. This is
I
the
don't know. I didn't count.
you stop counting. You didn't even begin.
Yeah, because I would just make it and give it away. You know, I didn't count. I know that I gave it away to hundreds of women, but I didn't count how many formulas.
Yeah,
You know.
that it took to perfect it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you were saying, that you started at the show, but what other stumbling blocks did you come? I know for a fact naysayers are out there for
Oh
sure. I
yeah.
know you had those, and being a
Still
woman of
do.
color, still do. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And then being a woman of color, and you're saying that you want to step out and do this and have this brand, like how did you overcome that?
Well, first of all, I'm quite fond of being the underdog. You
Okay.
know, I'm not a person who needs to be seen. I don't need to be right. I don't I'm out in the front, but I don't need to be out in the front. I don't need to flaunt my shit. I so I am a person that people can catch themselves sleeping on. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't say that with ego. I'm just saying it's just real shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually quite okay with that, you know.
Because you know
So
who
I
you
can,
are.
yeah, cause I know who I am, and even bigger than that, I believe in myself, you know. And I don't need anybody to tell me to do shit that I need to do. You
Validation,
understand what I'm saying?
self-validation.
Yeah, I don't look, and that's not to say that that I'm not a listener, that some people can't tell me to do things. That's not what I mean. But if I know, for example, um, if I know that I want to start a business, nobody has to tell me to do the shit that it takes to start a business, right? People can give me advices, they can do all that, but I'm not the person that you got to be on my ass. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a person who thinks 20 steps ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and and you know, and I'm here to do whatever the fuck it takes,
To get it done.
whatever it takes to get it done, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
anything, you know. So what people have to say, I don't really care about,
Mm-hmm.
because um it just isn't my driver, you know.
Right. Right. Totally understand. I,
Yeah.
the funny part is, we haven't met in person, but all that you're saying, once people start to hear this, they're gonna be like, "Are you talking to yourself, to a different person?" Because I'm the
Mm-hmm.
exact same way. Once I
Mm-hmm.
get it in my head that it's gonna happen some way,
Yeah.
and it may be in 6 months, maybe in a year, but it's gonna
It could
happen.
be it could be in 8 years. It
Mm-hmm.
could be in 9. It can be in 10, right? It could be in 2 days. If I know that there's an I that I need to dot and a T that I need to cross, nobody has to fucking tell me to dot the I and cross the T.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
It's dotted and crossed. What
Exactly.
what do we need to do now?
What's the next
Right?
step?
What's the next step? Because I already did that shit, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
if nobody has to tell me, I'm trying to think of an example, not even based around business, just in my personal life,
Well, for
you know.
me, this may help you out a little bit. I don't like to dwell on problems where people necessarily come always with a problem. Like we already know what the problem is. Help me out with the solution because the problem has been in my face.
Yeah, I'm solution oriented. I'm solution oriented.
Yeah, like
You
if we're
know,
gonna talk, we need to talk about how we can
if
correct
we
that dumpster
yeah,
fire over there. Not tell
yeah,
me about it and how big the
yeah,
flames are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's some things that might annoy me where I might need to say something about it, but
Hmm.
you know, but yeah, I'm like you. Like, I look, I don't want to sit here and talk about excuses, and I don't want to do all that, really, because I have so much respect for my time on this planet, you know? So I just want to really live with like pure intention. So I spend my time, you know, outside of the time that I must spend with work, right? Outside the time that I must spend it within my family obligations, and I have a boyfriend, so my boyfriend obligations, and you know, all that kind of stuff. When it's me, like when it's my time, 99% of my time is spent curating my life. Right? So how do I want my life to look? I love how my life looks in this moment, right? But in order for my life, and you know, we're running a company. At some point, this company, you know, is gonna grow even more, and we're probably gonna decide to go through exit and do all those kinds of things, right? For me, it's really important that I'm thinking about that kind of stuff, because I don't want to be the human who just worked all their fucking life.
Right.
And who just put everything into work. Right. And I did where I didn't think about or consider myself and what I actually like. And what kind of food do I want to eat? How do I want my place to look? What are the countries that I love to travel to? You know, so right now what I'm doing is a lot of practicing for my life, you know. You know, so for me, I say all that to say, I don't really have time to think about naysayers or what people will think of me, or what, you know, I don't have time to be over here worried about the bullshit, because I'm over here designing a beautiful life.
Exactly. And
You
time
know,
is our most precious commodity that we can never get back. Once it's
it's
gone,
all we have, sister. It's all we have. And any fucking day now, any day now, it's gone, right? You know, God willing, you know, the God that's in everything, that I live to be like the older people in my family. I mean, my family lives to be 96,
right,
98, 100, right? So, you know, it would be nice to be around that long, but who the fuck knows if that's gonna
right.
happen, right?
But no matter what the number is, it will be with intent and for sure intention. That's what matters.
It will be with pure intention and with pure respect for these moments, right? Because these are the only ones I have, the ones that are happening right now.
Exactly.
You know, so you know, so I guess that's what I mean by, you know, I'm okay with the underdog shit. I'm okay with all of the stumbling blocks that have to happen. I'm here for whatever happens. Even in this moment, I am in full acceptance of whatever happens, but what you're not going to catch me doing is wasting my fucking time.
Exactly. Because you're not going to get it back. Love it.
Nope.
Love it. So I haven't been stalking you, but I do follow you on social media. And I was looking at the video that you put out when you were saying, look, y'all, calm down. We're doing a lottery stocking.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess when it first blew up, you know, this was like an older video on your social media. You were like, you know, you raised the capital and did all that you had to do. So just, you know, relax. We're coming out with more and things like that. So talk to me a little bit about that path, like the path to the capital thing, if you can, and the path to retail, like getting in the Whole Foods and Target and the CVS and things like that.
Well, the path to retail and to raising capital really is in it's really in you understanding your business, right? And that doesn't mean that you're an expert at everything that you do, right? Because when you know, in the beginning, when you're first getting into retail, and you're first, you know, when we first got into Target, because that was really our biggest retailer, right? Before Target, it was like, you know, it was little stuff. Even with Whole Foods was a good partner is a good partner, but they never really went massive with us, right?
Okay.
And to this day, which is okay, right?
Mhm.
But when we got into Target, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know shit um, about production, scheduling, and operations, and
Uh-huh.
supply chain. We knew what we knew about what we knew about, right? And a lot of the times we didn't even know what we didn't know,
No. Yeah.
right? Now we're a little bit better at not knowing what we don't know because we have a team, and things are, we've just been around the block a couple times, right? But as long as you understand what your business is, and this goes with investment too. And as long as you understand what your end in mind is, right? As long as you know those two things, as long as you know what you're doing, like the products that you're doing.
Mhm.
And you have to, when it comes to retail, and what I'm saying is not the gospel. I
Right,
don't know
right. It's your
everything.
experience.
This is just my experience, right? But when it comes to retail, you really have to understand how you want to build your brand, right? You really have to understand. You don't want to be all over the place. You need to be able to, with Honey Pot, for example, right? I knew that when we were going in to meet with Target, what I did was, me and my team, we got prototypes made, right? We were only a wash company when we first started talking to Target. We weren't all the things that you see right now. We hadn't done anything outside of washes really, and everything else that we had done, we were just wholesaling with other companies.
Okay.
But when we got the opportunity to go in and physically meet with Target, we went to a prototype company. We had our washes, we got some wipes prototyped, and we got some pads prototyped, right? When we sat down at that meeting, what I told that buyer was that I understood what direction I wanted to take my brand. I wanted to do something in feminine care that had never, ever, ever been done before,
Okay.
right? There had never been a brand before Honey Pot that had done washes, wipes, and menstrual products. Companies chose a lane before, right?
Mhm.
They either did menstrual or they did cleansing,
Okay.
or they did sex, or they, right? Like they just picked a street and they drove down that street.
Mhm.
I was like, fuck that. I want to buy a neighborhood, right? And I want to do all, when you think about a neighborhood, there's a grocery store, there's a drugstore. There,
Okay.
you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
There's all these things. My concept of Honey Pot was that I want Honey Pot to be the vagina company, which means that we must sell everything that a human with vagina needs to take care of her vagina, right?
And you did, sweetheart.
We're here, we're doing that. But my
You
but
are.
my point but my point is that I think the reason why we have been successful at it is because we've remained true to it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We've remained true to it since the beginning, even when we didn't know what the hell we were doing. That was one thing that we knew that we were doing. When we talk to investors, because when an investor wants to invest in your company, they want to understand when the fuck they're getting their money back.
Money back. Mhm.
Like, it's cute that you want me to invest in your company, right? I like you as a founder or
Mhm.
as founders. I like your business concept. I like all that shit. But like, what is it that you're going to do to make sure
I get my
that
money
this
back.
money that I'm putting in turns to a 4x, 5x, 10x,
Mhm.
right? So with us, when we built our investor decks, we looked at the business models. Really, the business model when you're raising when you're raising capital from venture capitalists or from private equity funds or anything like that, you have to have an exit strategy. They're not here for
To
they're
stay.
here. They're, as my brother always says, they're here for a good time, not a long time.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? If you're
Right.
trying to be mom and pop, be here for 100 years, venture capital, private equity money is not your fucking money. That's not the one you're going for. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So in order to get that kind of capital, it's really important that you understand what you want to do. Where do you want to go? How do you want to exit? Otherwise, it's kind of a waste of their time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So those are the essentials, I think, whether you know what you're doing or not, whether you are an expert or not, whether you know how to manage supply chain or not. The good news is that when you're committed and you at least know what your trajectory is and how you're going to build your brand in a way that makes sense. You can't be over here, over there, and over here, over there. It has to make sense. It has to be in order. If you've got a body care product, you make body wash. Don't then go over here to face wash.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do a lotion, do a body butter, do a body scrub. And these things sound very cliche because in some people's mind, they're like, no, I want to do something different. That's what everybody does. But look, if you're gonna come out with a fucking body wash business, you already just did what everybody else does. Exactly. Right? And there is no new fucking wheel. All the wheels have pretty much been created. Right? So, so it's important to just understand how you want to build your brand. And it's extremely important to understand how you want to exit. And the last thing that I would say, it's important to think massive. Not, if let's say you're in Target already, and you got to raise money. Don't raise anything less than $1 million.
Okay.
Right? And when you raise that $1 million, you have to make sure that you create a valuation that makes sense. If your business is already sold in Target, and it's doing decent and you're hitting at least your baseline numbers and you just got in, but you haven't raised money, for example, right? Don't go out and raise money and just raise $300,000 or $400,000. Because when you talk to an investor about that, they're gonna know that you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Gotcha.
Because if that's the amount of money that you're gonna raise, what are you gonna do with that much money? That's not a lot of money in the type of business I do. You understand what I'm saying? But if you haven't gotten into Target, right, and your business is off the ground, and and you're making 6 figures, right, and you've got the opportunity to talk to a Target, and you're in negotiations or Walmart or whoever, right, and you're not quite there yet, raising $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 is appropriate.
Okay.
But if you're already in a big retailer, even if they've started off with a small footprint, in order for you to really pour gasoline on the thing that you're trying to do, it's really, really, really important that you raise the right amount of money.
Gotcha.
So don't sell yourself short, right?
Or be afraid.
Don't be afraid, because it's scary. But once you doing that kind of business, you got to put your fucking big girl panties on. Right. Because now you're playing with the big boys. Right. So you can't really dilly dally. Right? Because that's a surefire way to fuck up you and your business, because you need to have access to capital before you get into a major mass market retailer, to a major grocer, to a major drug chain. You need to know how you're going to find money. You got to know. And you cannot raise less than $1 million. You just can't. Okay. Right? Because if you do, you didn't raise enough. Even $1 million isn't enough.
They're going to continuously want those products, and you have to continuously get them manufactured, and you have to pay for that.
Yes. And when you get into a mass market retailer, grocer or drug, whatever kind of chain you get into, say you're making your products now, right? Look, I'm going to say this again. I don't think the way that a lot of people think, right? Do not try to make that shit yourself. Yeah. Do not become a brand who also manufactures their own shit. Do not do it. Because then what happens is you've just created two businesses. You are a manufacturer and you are a brand.
Yep.
And that is two different fucking things, right?
Yep.
So you need money. You need a lot of fucking money if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, because you got two
your
businesses.
your overhead in this manufacturing facility is major. Right? Because you got to manufacture, you got to buy machines, you got to buy materials, all the shit. You got to pay, you have to have people to be there to run the fucking machine. You got to have somebody that's going to box it, label it, cap, all the things. And you talking about retailers that've got thousands of doors.
Yeah.
You don't do it.
Yeah.
Right? The reason why you need money is because when you are in this type of retail, like you just said, retailers order every week. And what happened what you just mentioned earlier about those videos that I had created, right? The reason why I created that, because we weren't ready.
Oh, okay.
But who can be ready to go viral like that?
Yeah, that was what was going through my mind. You weren't even expecting it to just blow up so enormously. You were just like, okay, this will be a thing and it'll be big, and it exploded.
It exploded like a fucking nuclear explosion. Right. It was like Chernobyl over in this bitch.
Yes,
right?
Because everybody on my social media was like, have you, go try, go back, go support. And I was like, all right, okay. And then it was like, we're out.
And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Right? But if we didn't have access to capital, we would have been fucked. Right? And good for us is that we had already raised with the New Voices Fund, right? Like even before that, so when I say if we didn't have capital, that's really what I'm speaking to is the prep that we were doing when we raised the capital with New Voices Fund, right? Okay. So we had some access to capital. We just didn't expect to grow that fast, right? And so when you grow that quick, the reason why I bring this up is because it can happen. It can happen. It may not even be what happened to us. It could be somebody went to the fucking store for Kim Kardashian. They took it back home to her and she loved it. Right. What you gonna do then? Right? So you just want to make sure that you've got somebody there, or you want to make sure that if you've started conversations with Target and it seems like shit is going well, what you need to also be starting, bitch, is to have conversations with investors. Those things need to be happening simultaneously. Right? And don't be afraid, because if it seems like it's going well, and especially if you get a yes, time is racing, right? Retailers are planning for everything that they want to do a year ahead of time.
Right.
Right. And once you get into one retailer, guess what your goal has to be after that? Guess what has to happen after that? With that one retailer, you have to be coming back every fucking year with innovation. If you're not, you're wasting your buyer's fucking time. And if you're not, what the fuck are you doing? Okay. So every year, even if you just wanted to work with Target, you got to be coming back every year to meet your buyer with some new hot shit that you're doing for the next year. You got to be. You have to be planning like that. Okay. And then guess what? Even if you're only in Target for 2 years, after those 2 years, you want to go out to Walmart. You want to go out to Kroger. You want to go out to Publix. You want to go out to fucking Albertsons. You want to go out to Walgreens. That's how you do a brand. That's how you grow. That's how you get to these fucking ridiculous, Drunken Elephant didn't necessarily have a plan where they were in all the retailers. They were really able to grow in one, but they had a massive exit, right? Okay. Because the one retailer they work with, they grew tremendously there.
And they were able to.
So that can happen too. But how did they do it? They had access to money. That's how you develop a brand. That's how you tell a story. That's how you get into retail. That's how you stay in retail. That's how you innovate. Without money, you can't do none of this shit.
Right, right. You're
And
just
real
spinning your
money,
wheels.
not a couple $100,000. You need millions to do that. In order to get millions, you have to understand that you're going to sell your business for a lot of millions at one point.
Yeah,
right?
down the line.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Which isn't something that brown people have always been privy to. But here we are. It's a new day, you know?
A new day, a new game.
Yeah.
And we got a seat at the table. So hey, why not eat or
Sister,
drink while we're there?
we've always had a fucking seat, right? Whether it was there or not, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes we just have to know that it's there even when it's not there.
Okay. I feel that.
You know? We have to. Even when it don't seem like it's there. Even when the fucking table is full of racist and all kinds of shit. You have a goal to sit down at the table. I'm talking about in business. I'm not talking about
Yeah,
other
I got
things.
you.
Right? Because really, in business, tables don't fucking exist. Fuck that. Right? There is no there. Right?
Okay.
This is just my opinion. Right? I don't believe that there's a there there. I don't fucking believe in tables. Right?
Okay.
I don't believe in the things that people call what they call successful or you made it. I was already fucking here. You just saw that. You just think that you just met me and you just saw me make it.
Okay.
I've been made it. I made it since the first fucking day that my grandmother came to me in a dream. That was the day that I made
Right.
it.
Exactly.
Fuck a payday. Right?
Exactly.
So that's what I mean. There are no tables. There is no there. There is no fucking made it. Right?
Okay.
Focus on the thing that you want to do and be relentless about that. And don't put nothing else in your way. Don't think about no bullshit. Don't think later on, think about the cars and the money and the clothes and all this later on.
Yeah.
When the money's coming in, think about it then. Right? But before then, you just focus on the goal. You just focus on the work. You just focus on the products. You just focus on the fucking hustle. That's the shit that matters. All the other shit is just made up. Right? So, you know, money is a tool.
Yeah.
You know, and this for me, the success is in how I believe in myself, how I take care of myself, how I love myself, how the humility that's in there. You know what I'm saying? That's where the success lives.
Yes. Yes.
Don't make it about the bullshit. Because if you chasing bullshit, that's all you're gonna get, you know?
Words right out of my mouth. Words right out of my mouth. So I was gonna ask you like what was your advice for people that were trying to get into retail, but I didn't even have to ask you. You felt it. You did it. You did it. You led right into it. I didn't even have to do the whole segue kind of a thing. But I do want to know one thing though, because I know like we talked about earlier that you have a lot going on and things are happening or whatever. Um, how do you keep yourself the way you are, focused and still grounded to be? Because people know who B is now, you know, not just my friends and you know, but hey, that girl was on TV or you know, your name is attached to something, it's synonymous with something now. So how do you do? I mean, especially when you've been awarded that you've spoken in numerous places, you've been in, you know, print, you know, Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine, you know, things like that. And you know, like you were saying about don't go out and get the cars. And I know for some people that's kind of hard. It makes sense not to, excuse me, not to do it at all.
I'm
It
not
really makes
saying don't do it.
But
I'm not.
you got to know when to do it though. You can't start off doing that and
Yeah,
then still
yeah,
expect to be successful all the time. You're going to trip
right.
up somewhere. But like staying true to you. Like you have people around you that keep you grounded, that keeps you saying,
Yeah,
well, you don't
but
have to because I know you seem to be the person that's like, I don't have to have all that. I know who I am
mhm.
and I'm staying straight on my path.
Yes. I mean, I have people around me, but to be honest, the only person that can really keep me grounded is me. Right?
Right.
No, nobody else can do that for me.
Mhm.
And I don't need anybody else to do that for me, right? Because um where else is there to be, man? I live on planet Earth where gravity is, right? I am fucking on the ground, just like everybody else. I'm walking around just like everybody else. I'm putting on my clothes just like everybody else. I'm pissing, shitting, sleeping. I'm doing all the shit everybody else is doing, right? I just happen to have a business
Right. Right.
uh, that happens to be pretty pressworthy. And I happen to say things that humans are interested in.
Okay.
Um, but it don't have to mean anything else for me other than that.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know, yeah. So, um, honestly, sister, I don't know how to answer that question other than to say what I just said.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
That was perfect.
Look, here and now is only where I want to be.
That was perfect. And in talk, I had that in my mind, but in talking to you, I already knew the answer. Like, you don't need it. Just hearing and having this conversation, you don't need anybody to tap you on the shoulder because
No.
you're right there. You're self-centered. You know who you are already. You don't have to have somebody to say, hey, let's take it down a notch. Let's move
Yeah.
over here. And but the reason that that question came about is because so many people do that because now so many people know who I am and know my name, and they get wrapped up in the fame of it and they forget about why they started what they started. You started this, yes, out of necessity, but it brought about the change came because you wanted to help other people. You know that you
Yeah.
were not so unique in this thing
Nah.
that you could not help people. So why not? Because I have a gift. So why not share my gift with someone else?
Yeah, and also since any fucking day now, this shit could go away.
Right.
Right? Any day now, I could listen. There's homeless people that at one point in their lives were absurdly wealthy,
Mhm.
right? Anything can fucking happen. Anything, anything.
Absolutely. I was
So
always raised that it's them today, but it can always be you tomorrow. So you never look
yeah,
at
yeah, yeah,
anyone
yeah.
in that with that eye. You always do
No.
what you can.
I do what I can and I do what I must do and self-preservation happens to be a very serious thing to me.
And I love it.
But part of my self-preservation is working real hard to remain neutral and to not be thinking so fucking much,
Mm.
you know? I'm just happy to be here.
And I'm happy that you had that dream. Because when I tell you, my husband's like, "How many more bags are you gonna bring in here?" And um, I was like, "Well, we got washes and go." And I was like, "But I need to replace the things that I had." And he's like, "Because I'm a couponer, so when I
Yeah,
go and get things, I get things, right?" So
yeah,
his thing is, but you have like 6 to 7 of those already over there. But I'm like, but it's not this one. And he's like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So
I'm the same way with things that I use.
yeah,
Yeah,
if I find it and it's good for me, good to
yeah,
me,
yeah. I'm not gonna be out of it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can't. And the moment
yeah,
that I used the product and I felt differently, there was some apprehensions because it was new. Anything new,
mhm.
you're gonna be like, well, and then I was like, oh my God, there
Yeah.
wasn't like any
And
issue.
plus, you about to benefit from this shit. So miss me with
But I was just like, and then we're coming out with what? Then you have this one, and then you have that.
Thank you.
I was like, exactly, like, thank you, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, the body is saying thank you, because for a very long time, um, a cycle was nothing for me. Then I got to where I was about to turn 40, and it was like menstrual cramps waking me up, at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't know what to do with that because
Mm-hmm.
that had not ever happened to me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we got to the point to where it started to calm down, but now I don't even really think about it because I got calming and aloe and
Yeah, that's
all that good
good.
stuff in my, in my
Yeah.
bathroom or whatever. But I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, that you actually heeded the information that was given to you. And also that it wasn't just you aren't the kind of person that just said, well, this is for me because this is my problem. Like I said
Mm-hmm.
earlier, you decided to say, hey, let
It's
me
the
put this.
world's problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
other people are having this or other women or whatever. Again, so grateful for it, and of course,
Mhm.
you can tell that other people are grateful for it because you had to go back and restock. You had to go and figure out how we're gonna get some more stuff on the shelves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the conundrum always.
Yeah.
You know, is always is which is why the other part about raising capital is because you need help.
Yeah.
And not only do you need help, but you need the right help.
Right.
You need at some point you need somebody who understands how to build supply chain, who understands how to build product for 16 weeks, 20 weeks, who understands how to deal with the manufacturer, how to deal with the quality team. How you need people that you need somebody who understands finance, who understands, or like I said earlier, tax, who understands um margins. You
Mm-hmm.
need somebody who knows how to go out and sell your product. If you're in one retailer, which you might have did, eventually you're going to need somebody who can go and get you into all the other retailers, right?
Right.
You can't fuck around when it comes to this kind of world, right? You have to get in it with intention. And once you cross over and you start really growing and getting into retail and doing all those things, there really isn't any backseas on that shit. Like you're here, so you may as well just take it on home.
Right.
You know.
And what I hear you saying is you can be an entrepreneur. That's fine. You just have to find somebody else around you that's a business
Yeah.
person. There's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur.
But sister, you can't do it all.
Hmm.
You will go crazy. You cannot do it all.
Hmm.
You in the beginning you have to do it all, but you will fail
Fast and hard.
terribly if you try to be all the things that you a good entrepreneur and founder understands what they're good at,
Hmm.
and they do the shit out of that shit,
Hmm.
right? And what you're not good at, that's what you hire other people to do.
Exactly. Delegation.
And when you hire them to do it, they got to be real, real, real good at it, and that's why you keep them, right? And then also that's why you pay them well.
Exactly.
And in order to pay somebody well, you got to have money in the bank to be able to pay them well so that they can do their job, and pay yourself well so that you can do your job, right? And then you got to keep these products on the shelf. There's just so many wheels that are turning
Right.
all at the same time. So I'm not talking to the person right now who's just started. I'm talking to the person right now who has started, right?
Okay.
Because that this is the conversation we're having. So this must be there's people listening that's going to be listening to this who need to hear this, because this is the way that the conversation is going. I
Hmm.
truly believe that, right? You cannot fucking dilly. You do not have time to dilly dally. If you have the opportunity to get into a retailer, if you have the opportunity to grow, If your business has been around and you've managed to figure out how to make $400,000, you've got something. You got to focus on that. Don't be out here trying to do this thing and that thing.
Yeah.
Trying to have this hustle and that hustle. Fuck that. If your business has started to make money, you focus on doing that and growing that. Don't be out here trying to be everything, because you can't. You cannot be running. And again, this is just my opinion.
Right. Exactly.
With this consumer packaged goods business, you want a consumer packaged goods business that grows, that gets on shelves, that everybody knows about, that requires an intense amount of focus and determination and grit and grind and hustle and optimism, and conservatism through other people you pay people to be conservative, right? But your head has to be so in the game. You have to be thinking 10, 20 steps ahead. You can't have yourself, which is why it's so important to get yourself together
first.
Personally. Don't be out here having a bunch of dudes or be in a relationship with a woman or man or whoever you choose, right? Don't if you're in a relationship that's not working, you got to figure that shit out, right? If you're in a relationship with yourself that's not working, where you don't like yourself, you don't eat well, you're neurotic, you're stressed, you're depressed, these things happen. Figure out what you need to do. Go to the doctor. If you got to take medicine, take it. If you need to take supplements, take it. If you need to talk to somebody, talk, right? If you don't like how your body looks, figure that shit out. Go on a fucking diet, right? Hire a trainer. Because you have got to have your head in the game. You don't have time to be worried about shit that you can resolve. You understand what I'm saying?
Not in running an effective company anyway.
No.
You can't do that in running an effective company.
And don't make me wrong. There are people who have done it, right? But what's the point of having money and having a successful business if you're not happy?
Right.
It's actually quite silly and unnecessary.
Because the entire point is for you to make the money, to live the life, to be happy.
But money is not happiness. Right. Happiness is happiness. Wellness is wellness, right? Peacefulness is fucking peacefulness. Money is just fucking money. Don't make me wrong. You can buy shit that will temporarily give you little doses of happiness.
Yeah.
Don't make me wrong. I fucking love money, right? Especially with the kind of life I want to live. I have to have absurd amounts of it, right? But also, that is not the thing that drives me. That is not the thing that gets me up in the morning, right?
You love what you do.
I love what I do. I really, really do. And I'm a part of that love what I do. I love me tremendously, more than anything. You understand what I'm saying? And it's work all the fucking time, man. I don't love me all the time. Right. But because I love me 98% of the time, in the moments that I don't, it's easier for me to get back to me doing what I need to do for myself. Because I have a respect for both sides of the grass. Right. So, I say all that to say, when you want to be successful in business, you really have an idea of where you want to go and what you want to do. Don't fuck around. Do it. Don't play around with your personal life. Free yourself up. If you've got a lot of debt, you got to figure out how to resolve that shit. Right? If you are hanging around with people who don't mean you well, you got to fucking cancel that shit. Right? If you in a relationship where the human don't treat you well, or you don't treat them well, or you guys just don't do well together, the energy that you're using to not fucking do well is energy that you need to be putting into your fucking work.
Yes.
And into yourself, which is a part of your work.
Absolutely.
You just don't have time. Right? So we just have to free our fucking minds up and get real intentional about how we want to live this life.
And the things that we're doing while we're here. Exactly.
And
I love it.
exactly.
I love
And that to me, that's life or death. That ain't nothing to fuck with. You know? So yeah.
I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity to sit and chat with you.
Thank you.
Enlightening. Figured it was gonna be. I was all excited, and I'm so grateful, like I said, that you took out this time because I know, you have things going on. You got a whole business to run.
Yeah, but sister, we always have things going on, right?
Yes, but
That's not
again,
gonna change.
I do appreciate you. I'm so grateful for it. I'm grateful for what you're doing, for all of us as well. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I will. You do the same. I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be sending up all good thoughts and prayers for you that you're able to continue to make things happen and move and shake in the way that you need to, my love.
Thank you.
All
Same
right.
for you.
Thank you. And you go and get some rest. And I appreciate you. Have a good one, my love.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks. All right. You too. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.